Hi everyone, welcome to the Climb Your Everest online workshop series. So we usually meet the first Saturday of the month. So today is the first day of March, and March is the Women's Month, the month that we celebrate women's history. So I don't know how many of you are familiar with ChatGPT or AI. I asked AI to create this picture for me. I asked AI, how many of you raise your hand are familiar with ChatGPT or AI? Raise your hand. Anybody? Yes, okay. So basically you can tell to the app, to the software, what to create for you. And I said celebrating Women's Month in Nepal, and this is the picture that it created. And then I asked for more pictures, and there was more mountains and praying flags and gorgeous, beautiful monuments, historical monuments in Nepal. So anyway, that was like a computer generated, AI generated picture. So basically for people who are going to be watching this video who are not here, this video series is the video series that we've been recording since almost 2 years ago, and we've been having workshops, some mostly actually weekly and now monthly, and now we provide most of these workshops online as videos, which I've been emailing you, all of you, and sending you the links to watch the videos that we've been watching. We developed in the past year on different leadership skills, from time management, critical thinking, emotional intelligence. And some of you asked for a skill that is needed for a teacher, because some of you are teachers. So skills like communication skills, child psychology, how to be better teachers, different teaching methodologies. So basically today I decided to do a different topic, and today's topic is on imposter syndrome. How many of you know what is imposter syndrome? Raise your hand. Anybody knows what is imposter syndrome? Anybody ever heard of imposter syndrome? Yes, no, you can type it in the chat if you don't want to say it. Never heard of it? Okay, so today I'm going to talk about, yes, I heard someone. No?
No, I said no.
No, okay. So, but before we talk about that, since today is the first day of Women's Month, I want to talk about the women before us who've been doing so much work, and they worked so hard to make sure now we are standing here. We have right to vote. We have right to voice our opinion. We have, and they've done so much movements in the history of in the world, actually, from all the countries, from your country in Nepal, from my country in Iran, and from United States. There have been so many women. But I want to hear from you. I want one or two of you tell me what tell me some of the women that you know in your history of Nepal, or even currently. They are working so hard to make sure women have equal rights. And especially in a country like the country that I grew up in, Iran, or your country, Nepal, which is a patriarchal culture. And there is a lot of discrimination against women. I want to hear some example from some of you. Tell me, name one or two women that you know they worked so hard to make sure that we are standing here and we have the rights and the things that we are doing in our lives. So I kind of want to hear from some of you. Do you have any examples? Anybody wants to name a woman?
Ma'am, I want to name one.
Go ahead, Mina.
Okay, so there is a Anuradha Koirala, and maybe you have heard her. She is the founder of Mighty Nepal, and that organization is linked with gold trafficking.
Yes. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
gold
And then
trafficking.
she's done a lot of great work saving so
Yes,
many girls and women in
yes, ma'am.
Nepal. Yes. Yeah, that's great. Anybody else wants to name any other women that you know and they made a difference? Or maybe even currently. Maybe currently you say, well, I have this neighbor, I have my grandma, I have my aunt, that they are, even though it's like a small scale, maybe they are mayor of the city, maybe they're doing something, but still they are changing the city. Any of you have an example? No? Okay, I want you, this is the first day of a Women Month, Women's History Month. So this is the month that I want to start celebrating women who worked so hard to make sure that there is less discrimination and more equality for women. So I want you to keep appreciating all the women around you who've been part of this movement. Okay, I think as women, this is our responsibility to make sure we are celebrating this month for all the things, all the positive change that happened in the history of women. Okay, so I told you that today's workshop, in continuation of the whole workshop series of financial literacy, leadership skills, different kind of communication skills, even computer literacy and computer skills. So we had a lot of workshops, and all of them are online, and you watch the videos. But today, I decided to bring up this topic of imposter syndrome. So what is imposter syndrome? Because most of you said you never heard of it. When we feel like that you are not as competent as others perceive you, or you fear that others will discover you are not as capable or knowledgeable as they think, or you're attributing your success to external factors like luck or timing rather than your own skills and efforts. Or you have persistent self-doubt. You always doubt yourself. You're like, if somebody comes to you and say, Mina, you're so smart, you did this so amazingly, you're like, no, this was very easy, that's why I did it. Or no, I just got very lucky. Or no, my friend here is very smart. That's imposter syndrome. When you have self-doubt, even though you've done the job, but you still say, oh, no, that was not me. And I've seen this everywhere, men and women all over the world. Imposter syndrome is, I think it's like a syndrome, it's a disease that we all have. And some people have it more, some people have it less. So I want to hear some example. When do you experience imposter syndrome? Give me an example in your life that you experience imposter syndrome, that you experience self-doubt, that you were had fear of failure and reluctant to take new challenges because you didn't want to fail. You didn't want to speak in front of others because you thought, if I speak in front of others, what if I make a mistake? I'm not good enough, right? That's called imposter syndrome. So raise your hand. I want to hear examples from you. Peru, give me an example. When have you experienced imposter syndrome? And then after you, I go to Pranisha and then Mina. Give me examples of when did you, and then Aslesha. Did you hear when I explained imposter syndrome? When do you experience self-doubt?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, I don't know when I had it experience. I could not
I
Uh,
remember when I was in Nepal a few months ago, and you came to the front of the classroom, front of the in the hotel, in the big salon. You came to the front, and I asked you to share something. And you said, "Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I can tell my story, if my story is good enough." That's imposter syndrome. When you doubt yourself and you think your story or your sharing is not good enough. Remember when you came to me and you said, I don't know? That's called imposter syndrome. Okay. All right. I want to hear from you, Pranisha. When have you experienced imposter syndrome?
I have experienced that when I give up presentations in college
Yeah.
and to interact with teachers,
Yes.
I always experience that.
Exactly. Yes. When we speak in front of others, the first thing, even I go on a stage a lot. I still go on a stage and I'm like, what if I'm not good enough? What if I cannot talk about what I really want to talk about? Okay, that was a good example. Mina, tell me, when did you experience imposter syndrome?
many times I've just feel like that. Before exam, normally I feel I don't know anything. What do I write on the exam? But after the exam, that means I complete that questions. And in the same way in school also, on Friday we have different programs, and when the principal asked me to handle that programs,
Yeah.
just before that I feel that, oh, I don't know how to handle that. I can't do that. But slowly I just manage it, and on Friday when the program completed, and my friend, they said, okay, it's good, it's nice. So it happened.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like when we are doubting ourselves. That's a very good example. Thank you, Mina. Aslesha.
I experienced imposter syndrome while uh, I attend exam. In exam hall, I feel myself some self doubt that my answer is right or wrong. I I do not feel this is right or wrong. And while speaking in front of in crowd, while giving presentation, and um, while interacting with teachers or other elders.
Yeah. Yeah. Like when we are interacting with somebody that's older than us, and we're like, what if this person knows more than me just because they are older? I mean, it doesn't mean that whoever is older knows more than us, but sometimes we just because somebody is older, we're like, what if they know more? And then we experience imposter syndrome. That's good. Very good example. Thank you, Aslasha. Astika, Supersana, if you guys want to, yes, Astika, go ahead. Give me an example.
Yes, ma'am. There are many cases nowadays in my struggling phases of my career. I really feel like I can't compete with this generation. Like they are extremely talented, and I'm not capable. And yes, it makes me feel like I
Yeah, exactly. Like sometimes it's that happens and we feel imposter syndrome. Okay, great. Anybody else likes to share an example? Anybody else? Okay. So next
Can
goes.
I tell?
Yes.
Excuse me. Uh, and like all our participants are telling, it's the same thing for me also. Uh,
Uh-huh.
Always before before I present something, I speak something, I I always feel the same. I will have the same feeling, like
Yes.
whether it will be better or not, or there will be always doubt.
Yes.
And I think I want to share one thing more. These are always I feel, and I always feel it like a normal thing,
Yeah.
like the regular normal thing. But I never knew about this type of. It is a type of
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
all about imposter syndrome. I never heard
Yeah.
about this too.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
it may be like a type of problem. I want to know more with this session.
Yeah.
And what I'm willing to tell or share now is in our from my childhood, like in my, especially in my community, we are not we will be like we it the if someone is telling us like you are doing good or you can do, if someone is telling such things, then if we say yeah I can do, I'm capable about this, or like if I start to explain in such a way about my own capacity, then it is considered like not a good thing. Like we can't show our um, is it clear what I'm trying to share?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
It is
And
not like that. We can't make ourselves we can feel our or show our proud, or we will be like our overconfidence like that. No, the people will
yes.
feel like overconfident.
Yes.
And in my
Yeah.
case, I was I'm just um I'm just grown in this type of environment. I think due to that, or others are also having the same type of situation or not. But in
Yeah.
my case, from my childhood up to now, I was told in such a way, I was taught in such a way, and I'm just caught in this type of situation, I think.
Exactly.
So I
That's very good observation, Mimala. Yeah, that's very good because that's exactly what I want to talk about right now. Culture of
yeah,
different
yeah,
countries.
culture.
Culture is impacting how we are interact, how the imposter syndrome happens. I mean, it all over the world. Every person that I met, they experience imposter syndrome. There are rarely people who say, "Oh, I never have imposter syndrome," and I'm sure there are moments that they do. They just don't say it. So now we kind of that your sharing was really great because that helps us to transition to the culture of Nepal. So a lot of cultures, including Nepal, has historically had disparities in access to education, especially between urban and rural. So people in rural areas, they don't have access to education. Like women, girls, they have less access to education compared to men. Okay. So this culture is impacting the experience of women. So if like in the countries that have patriarchal culture, women will experience imposter syndrome more. Why? Because of the culture. Because the culture is kind of creating the gap between men and women, creating the gap between urban areas, people who live in the city, and people who live in the villages, right? Because people in the villages have less access. So then if a person who never gets education, never comes to the city, and we go to her and say, what did you study? She's gonna be doubting herself. She's like, well, I never had a chance to go to school. So she experienced imposter syndrome. Do you understand what I'm saying? So usually the culture creates gaps, right? So Nepali society often places high value on certain professions. So if a person has a PhD, if they are doctors, if they are, then they have a higher status, right? So if I come to you and say, I'm a I don't know. I just work in a company as a like I'm a simple worker. Then if I'm not a doctor, or if I'm not a high status, or I'm not don't have a high education, then the society and other people treat me in a way that I experience imposter syndrome, right? So the culture is kind of causing me to experience it. Does that make sense? Yes. Okay. So I want to hear an example from you. First of all, I want you to look at this picture and tell me what you see. And somebody raise your hand and tell me what do you see here in this picture. And then I also want to hear about your experience in your culture. How do you experience imposter syndrome? Anybody likes to share something? Jazvin, hi. Subal, hi. Welcome. Nita, hi.
Hello, ma'am. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. Do you like to share? What do you see in this picture?
This after some time, ma'am. Yes, please.
Excuse me, can I tell now about
Yes,
this picture?
yes. Go ahead.
I can see here like men and women are not equal, and men are a little bit in the upper position, and women are in the lower position. Is
Mhm.
it so? I just understood my
Yeah,
own interpretation.
yeah. It is funny. I typed in the internet gender discrimination, and that was the
Yeah,
first
this is
picture
gender
that showed
discrimination,
up.
I think.
Yeah, that's a picture of when in the internet I typed gender discrimination. That was the first picture that showed up.
Oh,
And I thought, wow, that's interesting. Yeah, that's exactly what you said, Mimala. That's exactly what I had in mind. So let's move on to the next slide. Okay, imposter syndrome in Nepal. In some Nepali workplaces, so most of you are working, right? In some Nepali workplaces, there may be a hierarchical structure where age and seniority are highly respected. So whoever is older, just because they are older, they are more respected. And this can sometimes result in younger or less experienced people feeling like they need to prove themselves more in a less hierarchical culture. This could lead to self-doubt and feeling of inadequacy. So if we have older people, as some of you shared actually in your example, when we are working with older people, we just feel a little more self-doubt because we think, oh, they have more experience, they worked here more, they are older, right? I want to hear an example. Have you had this experience where you're just, I don't know, you're talking to your neighbor and your neighbor is older and they say, oh, I know how this works. I know how that works. And you know, they don't know. They're just because they are older, they think that they know, and they cause some self-doubt for you. And you doubt yourself and you experience imposter syndrome. Anybody has an example like similar to this? Yunisha, Nita, Subal, Jezvin. You haven't shared yet. Anybody likes to share?
Good morning, Sarah ma'am. Very good
Hi,
Yes.
morning.
everyone.
Hi. Like, who's sharing first? Yunisha,
This is Subal.
yeah. I'm
Yes, Subal.
Subal. Okay, Subal, go ahead, and then after you, Yunisha will.
Ma'am, actually, in our organization where I'm working for in the college,
Yeah.
there are a few people who are senior than me, than us.
Yeah.
But if we talk about the research and all these things, uh, they would not contribute in the research process or in the journal publication process.
Uh-huh.
They would only say, we had did these all in our time, but why are you not active?
Uh-huh.
Just asking young faculty to participate in the research process, but themselves they are not an example.
Yeah. Yeah.
He or she should be an example so that others can follow them. This
Yes.
is the kind of uh,
That's
we
that's kind of what Subal, what you're saying is more of a leadership where when somebody is a leader, then they're supposed to be the example
yeah,
for
exactly.
everybody else and they do the things that they want everybody else to do. What we are talking here is more imposter syndrome, where when you experience self-doubt, when you are not you have a fear of failure, or when you are not challenging yourself, that's called imposter syndrome. when like just because somebody is older or more senior, we just think, oh, just because they are older, then they know more. So probably because I'm younger, I know less. That's imposter syndrome.
Right, ma'am.
Yeah.
So these things happens in our day-to-day life, ma'am.
Yeah.
In our professional life too. As they are senior and they have more years of experience in their teaching or in their societal work, or maybe as a volunteer, and they need to be up there, even though they are not updated.
Mm-hmm.
But they try to express themselves as their perfection. They are
Yeah.
perfect in everything. But in reality, when we go to the ground level, uh, no one is perfect in this world. So far we know, we all are learning, and it takes a long way. And till last breath, we are learning.
Yes,
So
exactly.
some people try to be the like perfectionist, and I know everything, and others are less concerned, are less intellect. This kind of feelings we can have in our working environment, ma'am.
Exactly. Thank you, Subal, for sharing. It's good to
Welcome.
have you here. Yunisha, go ahead. When have you
Yeah,
experienced imposter syndrome?
like I frequently experience it is our course ACCA is considered to be a tough course, and when we consult with the senior, like they say, oh, I didn't clear it in the first time. It took me three. I completed it after 3 times. So it is a quite hard, and I think you don't make it this time. Trying next session, like they suggested like that. So that indirectly built me a self doubt, and in my last exam, like after I asked teacher to cancel my exam like 2 days before exam, because of that doubt that I if I couldn't make it, what will happen. And in that day, in the exam day also, I was talking with my friends that I'm here to give paid mock test, not
Yeah.
exam, paid mock test. I was that much self doubt, but after in exam hall, like I gave my best, and I was pretty much confident that this exam has went well, and it will be I will be passed in this exam. And same thing happens, and I clear my exam. But thinking if the sir has listened to me, and if he had cancelled my exam, then I would have wasted all those study and all those effort in just due to some seniors baseless talks. So this is quite often, and I get to hear this, but I think to overcome self-doubt, self-confidence is must.
Exactly. Thank you for your sharing. Thank you. That was very good. Okay, so the next thing is traditional gender roles can play a significant part, especially for women who achieve success in fields traditionally dominated by men. They may feel like outsiders, or they have to work harder to prove themselves, which can contribute to feeling associated with imposter syndrome. So a lot of times, like I studied engineering, right? So when I started working in the company, everybody, most of the people, 95% of the people in my company were men, right? Or I teach at an engineering school. Again, 95% of my students and other teachers are men. So again, in that scenario, like me being between the only few or couple of women at work, either university or at my company, that makes me feel imposter syndrome. Just because there is not more people, more women, right, in around me, then I think like, what if I'm not good enough? What if I'm self-doubt? Okay. So Nita just messaged me and she said she was late. So she doesn't know what imposter syndrome means. Nita, imposter syndrome means self-doubt. When you have fear of failure, when you cannot trust yourself, when you don't have self-confidence. Okay, that's what imposter syndrome means. So how many of you experience as women that, oh, sometimes you go to a place where there are mostly men? I remember, do we have anybody here from Chitwan? Last time I was in Nepal, we went to Chitwan and we went to this school. There was 60 principals. They were all men. And there were only one principal that was a woman. And I told her to come on the stage and speak. And she said, this is one of the first few times that when there is a room full of men principals, like 60, 70 men principals, that somebody invited her to speak. So she felt imposter syndrome that, well, I'm the only woman principal in that conference workshop, and she really felt imposter syndrome. So I invited her to the stage and she was very moved and inspired that she was invited to speak on the stage. So I want to hear from some of you. Have you as women experienced imposter syndrome in this area, this specific area? Anybody likes to share? One of you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, go ahead. As a
Yes,
woman,
ma'am.
I think
Yes,
a
ma'am.
big truck is honking next to your house. Is that you or who? I'm here. But go ahead, Jasmine. Go ahead.
Is there, ma'am? Do you now?
No. I don't hear it anymore.
Is a railway track is here?
Yeah.
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah, I felt sometime this syndrome in my life because few years back because that time I was not much experience in my field, so just I went for an interview, and so the as I reached there, so many people were surround there, so many people are waiting on outside the office, and means as I observe, there are all are men. I am the one who's the single lady in among the men. So, and I was thinking in my head, I should move this place. I should not go for interview because all our men are looking, some of sorry to say, some are very handsome, so looking so educated, some kind of carry some some hold, they have a folder laptop, so these kind of things getting me that I'm get by these things. I was getting means nervous in my nervous inside, because that time I was just completing my masters. I have completed that time. The duration that time I'm telling the story. So I was sitting the next to men, one, and I asked him, sir, what is your qualification? Then he said, I have completed my MBA. Then again, I lose my confidence. I said, oh my God, this place is totally not for me. I should. Yeah, I should go. So one by one, men was going for an interview, and next month, that after some time, I get a chance to go to inside. I called to my before to go to inside. I called to my mother. I said, Mama, I'm just coming back because all are men here. Even I'm not feeling I'm not feeling good to sit in among them. And how can I fight for an interview? Then Mama said, no, this is not good. You sit there. Just go for an interview. Then I said, no, Mama, I'm not, means in front of them, by looking also, I'm not good. I spoke to my mother like that. So my mother said, no, just but you go for an interview. And my father also said. So then after 20, 15 minutes after this, just I went for I go for an interview. Then means there was a 15 men was there, and including me, 16 now. So all has completed. And after the women's selection, five members were remain, and I was among them. And after the when the result was declared, I can't believe myself. Really, I cleared my interview and I got selected in among the men. And that is really, that time I'm feeling so nervous and all. But what I learned from, no, means nothing is there. We should always fight the things. You never get any, means never lose our confidence in to seeing others by looking, or by education, or by something, anything. But we should fight it. We should fight any struggle or any kind of things which you are going to face in your life. So that time I felt this this kind of syndrome in my life.
That's great, Jasmine. That's such a good example. So for those of you who don't know Jasmine, Jasmine is in India. She's been doing the workshop for more than a year with us, and she came to Bhaktapur a few months ago to do the in-person workshop with us. So some of you already met her. So some of you are from Bhaktapur. We have people from Chitwan and Kathmandu. So that was a very good example. Yes, when we see people with lots of books and degrees and glasses and they seem so educated, that's when we experience imposter syndrome, right? So that's a very good example. Or when we want to go for a job interview and we don't have experience, we feel imposter syndrome. So these are all very, very good examples. Thank you, Jasmine.
Thank
All
you,
right.
ma'am.
Anybody else? I want to hear more stories. Let me actually delete this. I want to hear more stories. Anybody else like to share a story of this is again another AI generated picture that I thought it's gorgeous and beautiful. So I want to hear another story of somebody else experiencing imposter syndrome. I want the imposter syndrome to be a very clear concept for all of you when we finish the workshop today. Is it clear for everybody what is imposter syndrome? Yes? Do a thumbs up, or this thumbs up, or a reaction thumbs up. Yes, thank you, Peru. Or in the chat says thumbs up, or just unmute yourself and says, yes, thank you, Subha. Thank you, Pranisha. Thank you, Yunisha. Thank you all. Okay, great. So we don't have any other story. I think when we hear more stories, we connect to each other, because all of us, all the time, every day experience imposter syndrome. It's a normal thing, but sometimes it stops us because we experiencing it. But the secret is don't stop. Still go. Like Jasmine just shared, she experienced it. She called her mom and said, Mom, everybody here is better than me. But then the mom is like, no, go do the job interview. So the secret is don't stop. Still continue, even when you're very scared. Still with go and do your job interview, or do whatever that's the step that you want to do next. Okay. So what are some of the strategies to overcome imposter syndrome? Number one, regularly practice positive self-talk. Affirm your capabilities and achievement by writing them down. Repeat affirmations that reinforce your value and competence. Make a list, write down, I'm good enough, I'm smart, I'm beautiful, I'm capable of doing everything, I'm a good singer, I am a good mathematician, I'm good in math, I'm good in science, I can speak really well in front of others, my English is really good. Okay, so I want you to
Good, ma'am.
say it again.
I'm so happy to hear this.
Yeah. So I want you to write down
Affirmations.
3 things. Write down right now 3 things that you are positive things about yourself. 3 positive things about yourself. And then read it for me. or type it in the chat box. Type it in the chat box, read it out loud. Anybody likes to share? What are you good at? Write down 3 positive things about yourself. Anybody likes to share with me?
I want to share, ma'am.
Yes, Peru.
I can interact with people easily. I
Yes,
can be friendly very fast.
yes,
I I can help each and every people
that's
wherever they
beautiful.
are.
That's beautiful. That's really good. Thank you, Peru.
Thank
Anybody
you.
else? I know all of you, you're all good at something. A lot of things, actually. So I want you to share. Who likes to share?
Ma'am, 3 things about me.
Yes.
Ma'am, I am good singer,
Uh-huh.
and I love to help others.
Uh-huh.
And yes, and I am means I am very jolly person.
Yes, you are. You are.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good, good, good. Thank you, Jasmine. Who else likes to share? What are you good at, or what?
I like to share.
Yes, go ahead.
So I think I'm passionate about things I do. I
Uh-huh.
like I like cooking.
Uh-huh.
I'm not good at it, but I like it,
Good.
and I'm friendly.
But you're supposed to say things that if you don't, you shouldn't say today, right now for this exercise, don't say I'm not good at cooking. Say I'm very good at cooking.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Who else?
Ma'am,
Yes, go ahead. Astika.
the three things I actually admire myself is
Uh-huh.
that I talk very less and listen more.
Uh-huh.
Like my friends are kind of talkative person, and I enjoy their talkings on various topics.
Uh-huh.
And one more thing I like about myself is that I always take the attitude of learning. Like, even though something maybe not be in my favor, I would like to learn something from that.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, and I'm very good at singing. Yes, that's all.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Astika. So in the chat box, as you can see, Mimala says, I'm very helpful, polite, and confident. And Nita said, I trust my friends easily. I try to understand others, but don't try to understand me. I like to keep my words side to side in front of my friend without hesitate. Okay, so I guess you mean you are very frank. You say things the way it is. Is that correct, Nita? All right. So let's move on to the next slide. Okay, she says yes. All right, great. So the next strategy, okay, so you can see she's sitting here and she's writing on the wall different affirmations. So on the wall, as you can see, she's writing positive affirmations. I'm good at, so I'm gonna send you this slide so you can zoom in and look. So I think that's a very good technique that we discussed before. Write on a sheet of paper, I'm smart, I'm intelligent, I'm good at speaking in front of others, and put it on your mirror, on your wall, next to your bed, so that you see it all the time, so that you remind yourself that how amazing you are. Because we forget, and other people criticize us. And so, I want you to keep remembering and using that as an affirmation. And we've done this exercise before. Mina probably remembers from before. 1 minute in the morning, 1 minute at night, go in front of the mirror and do positive affirmations. I'm smart, I'm capable, I'm very good at different skills, right? I'm a good communicator. I have self-confidence. I can speak well, right? I can share my opinion. All right. So more strategies. Seek out mentors who can provide guidance, feedback, and support. They can help you recognize your achievements and offer advice based on their own experiences with similar feelings. So finding mentors, people who can help you. Accept that no one knows everything. Commit to lifelong learning and see each challenge as an opportunity to grow. So instead of being scared of challenging yourself, just keep learning. Even when you make a mistake or fail, just tell yourself, oh, I'm learning something today. Okay, so that's what I wanted to talk or share on imposter syndrome. I'm going to send you this slide so you can read it through, share it with your family, share it with your friends, share it with your students. I want everybody to know about imposter syndrome, okay? For the leadership workshop, so I'm coming in May, right? I come to Bhaktapur and Kathmandu and we're going to have workshops. And you're all invited to come. But those of you who want to graduate from the program, you need to go through 7 modules. So if you go to sarasafari.com/module 1, module 2, module 3, module 4, module 5, module 6, module 7, there are 7 modules. There are videos in every single one of them. And then there is a survey in the bottom. The only way you can graduate from the program is that if you finish all the videos and finish all the surveys and come to the online sessions like right now. I need 6 online sessions. I know some of you messaged me and you said you just joined the program. So this is your first or second time coming online. You need to go through the set of 6 online programs, which is 6 months, and watch all these videos plus the survey in the bottom, completely finished to graduate from the program. Is that clear? Does this make sense? Yes, any questions? Any questions from what I just said? No? Okay. So please go to this link. I emailed you the links. If you don't receive my emails, please put your email in the chat box. Okay, let me see. Thank you. Exactly. Okay. Thank you, Subal. I got your messages. All right. Okay. So we talked about the community project, and I've been asking all of you to do community project. The only way we can create change is by working together. So I've been mentioning this. When I come back to Nepal in May, I want all of you to lead a community project. Find 2 or 3 people together and do a project together. Your project can be something very simple, but I want you to still do it. You can do something about education in your school. You can do something in your community about the environment, about animals, about children, about elderly. You can do something about financial literacy, starting a small business, having a side business, making money, and you can do it with a group of people. The reason this is important to be a community project, I want you to start doing teamwork. I know some of you are very good at teamwork, but for this community project, I want you to pick a project that you're passionate about and start doing it together. And from each city, people will come up in the workshop. When we do the workshop, you come up in front of the room and you present it to everyone. And between the groups that are competing, we all gonna vote and choose 3 best ones. And those 3 best ones will support them to continue the project. They receive an award. So that's kind of because I want to empower and inspire you to see that how easy it is to create change. Sometimes we think, oh my God, there are so many problems. I'm not going to start taking one step because this is such a big issue in my country or in my city or in my neighborhood. But creating change is very easy. And I want you to have confidence that you can make a change in your community, but together in a group, in a community. So this is our way of inspiring you to do that. And most of you already saw the way we did it because you were in the in-person workshop. For those of you who were not in the in-person workshop, I want to know, anybody have a question, or does it make sense? Based on everything I said, do we have any questions? No? Yes? Maybe? Concerns? Nothing? The deadline, Mimala is asking me, what is the deadline? The deadline is when I come to Nepal, you're going to be presenting in front of everybody. So I guess you need to finish your project a couple of weeks before end of May. I'm coming to Nepal end of May. What is end of May in Nepali again?
In 11, maybe.
Just I think.
Yes.
Just.
It 10 and 11 Bhaktapur, I think, and 12 and 13 in Kathmandu.
Yes. And I'll send it again. I email it to you all again so you know. So basically, you want to be ready 2 weeks before that. So you, in your group, you want to start practicing presenting how you're going to talk about. You have only 5 minutes. Only 5 minutes to talk about your project. So you need to talk about it quickly. This is our plan. This is what we did. These are the results. So 5 minutes, you share it in front of everybody, and then everybody votes, and then we see, and we see if you're get selected or not as a group of winners. Is that clear?
Excuse me, Sarah.
Yes.
Will you make clear again about that project? What exactly we have to do in that project? I have not
You choose.
understand that.
You choose, Aslesha. You choose your own project. Your project could be about something you're passionate about. Like I remember somebody were passionate about rescuing animals. Somebody were passionate about collecting trash. Somebody was passionate about changing an educational system and adding a class about time management. Somebody was passionate about starting a business and selling some I don't know, like handcrafted something. Somebody was passionate about what were the examples? Help me here. What are some of the examples that people say? Do you remember?
Environmental.
Climate activities.
Environmental, yes, environmental issues. So Aslesha, you choose what you're passionate about. You pick the project. I want you to be creative. This is open. You choose the project.
Okay, Sarah. Thank you.
And ma'am, what
Yes,
will be
Vimala.
the objective we have to keep?
The objective
Or,
is to create change in your community, positive change
oh,
in your community.
oh, to change the community in a positive way, which
Yes,
what type of project we can
any.
start or we
Yes.
can plan
Some
for
of
that
the
one.
examples
Okay.
that you said. So Subal has an example here. So let me see. We are going to conduct project on mental health issues on the 3rd week of this month. So his project is mental health. So if you can choose your own project. I wanted something that you're passionate about, to be something that you're passionate about. Does that make sense?
Yes, it's clear now.
Yes, good, good. All right, great, great. So I'm gonna ask all of you to turn on your video so we can take a group picture. But before that, I'm gonna stop the video. I'm gonna share this video and the slides with all of you, and I'm gonna be also sharing the schedule for Nepal so you all know when I'm coming to Nepal. Okay? All right, so good to see you all. Let me stop the recording.